This is our Welsh Camping and Caravan. It's not our Welsh, it's the owner's Welsh, but that's what they call it. Quite a smart little campsite, just north of Bridgend, off the M4, so accessible to a lot of South Wales. Start at the top here is pretty good, very good facilities actually. Got a chemical disposal point there, his and hers toilets, unisex shower room, which is okay, could do with a few extra hooks on the wall, and a very nice little kitchen area, washing up area. Bit of honesty there around extra teas and coffees if you get to bring your kettle. Washing machine that you can do your washing 20p for 15-minute cycle, and then another 20p for the spin. So all pretty well set up. The site itself, so on pitch up it says that it's suitable for 45 units. We're here beginning of August. There's been between 25 and 30 units on site every night, and that's about as busy as you'd want it to be. The pitches themselves are pretty good. They're a reasonable size. They're probably about 6 by 8. However, and you'll see as you walk across here, there's no dividers between them. They're just painted white lime lines on the ground, a bit like a football pitch, and there's no breaks. So you've got the track that goes around the middle, but if everyone fills out their pitch to capacity, puts their caravan, an awning and car, or a very large tent, you really are side to side packed in with people. But as I say, all the time we've been here, it's been about half, 2/3 full. Look, that's in August, so it probably isn't going to get any fuller than this, is it? So I suspect, you know, it's tolerable. But as I say, a little more space would be good. Interestingly, talking to the owner earlier on, he said they used to accept 60 here. And I would have thought 60 would be just a little bit way too many. Some of the pitches are hard standing, not very big, you know, just big enough to get the motorhome or the caravan on, but not terribly level, which is really one of the reasons one might want a hard standing pitch. Pretty good views all round. So you've got the hills over to one side, sheep up on that field there, look, but quite pleasant. Just a little view of the back of the village there. Local village is about a mile up the road. Decent co-op just up there. A little bit on the pricey side, as we'd expect from co-op, but it's convenient, easy to get to, and you could live for a week there. You can get all your stuff, everything you need from there. Just walking over to the edge of the pitch at the moment. Rather a nice little babbling brook runs down one side. Quite pleasant. There is a track down the other side. Now it's owned by the farm who run this campsite, and we did speak to the owner, and they say that it's their land, but they have to lock the gate for security reasons, to avoid nuisance and stuff. If you can get over the gate, they're happy for you to walk down there, but it does mean squeezing your dog underneath and climbing over the top yourself. But nevertheless, you know, it's accessible and a good place to walk the dog. Now dogs, it's a flat rate for dogs here. It's £2.50 per visit, so if you're only here for one night, that's quite a lot. If you're here for a week, £2.50 is okay. But there's no dog bins, there's no dog walking area, and as I say, you have to jump over a fence if you want to walk at all with the dog locally. As I say, the village is only less than a mile up the road, but it's on an unrestricted road with no footpaths, so you can't really walk to it. So all in all, yeah, nice site, pretty site, good facilities. As long as it's not full to the gunnels, it's a perfectly nice site. Little bit on the pricey side, 2025, and we're paying £34 a night. That is high season, but £34, I think, for what you get, and the potential crampedness of it is a little bit on the high side, but nothing that we're going to worry about too much. So while we were out earlier, we stopped by a store and picked up some Welsh cakes. I'd like to say we went to some fancy baker, but to be honest, there isn't so many places around here to buy artisan food. But look, Welsh cakes you can get in any supermarket around these parts. You wonder sometimes if it's a law that they have to stock it. So, just interested about what they are, because they look like scones, but they're a bit flatter. And when you read about them, they are griddle cakes, so they're made the same sort of way as a pancake, I suppose. Pre-industrial revolution, made on griddles or hot stones. During the, after industrialization, particularly around these areas, minings and pits, miners used to take them for their meal, their lunch, because they're fairly easy to make. Wives would make them at home, but fairly clean to eat, not very messy. And then hang around thereafter. Now a real sort of piece of cultural identity for the region. Yeah, real thinking that they're about hospitality. So anyway, we like our food. So dollop of clotted cream on that, mug of coffee. I think we'll call that afternoon tea. Okay, guys, I thought we'd take a look at today at what I keep in my caravan tool bag. It's not a conclusive list. I'm sure there's bits and pieces you might want to keep in yours, and indeed it sort of evolves. A job will come along and you need an extra something. You find a local tool station and you nip in and pick it up. But it's just a sort of suggestion of what might be kept in a toolkit in the caravan, useful stuff. So I think we'll start with the consumables. I keep stuff in the bag in little plastic boxes. It makes life easy. Okay, so what have we got here? Well, to start, tin of WD-40. Make sure it's got the tube with it. Always useful. Essential stuff. Similarly, a roll of gaffer tape, duct tape. Indeed, my mum always taught me that if it couldn't be repaired with WD-40 or gaffer tape, it wasn't worth fixing. And I think that's sage advice from someone who's now in her 90s. Little roll of electrical tape, again, always useful. Things need sticking down, bare wires sometimes, or cracked wires need covering. Essential piece of kit to have in any tool bag. Similarly, a little bag of cable ties. I only keep the thin ones here. Look, the little sort of 100mm tiny ones, perfectly sufficient for the odd repair job, and tidying up any odd loose cables or anything. When you put the telly in, you might want to tie cables up behind it to keep it tidy. All that sort of stuff. Useful stuff to have in. Absolute essential. The next one. A spare breakaway cable. We all hope that we never have the experience of deploying our breakaway cable. It happens, and when it does, the cable will break. It's what it's designed to do. It'll pull the handbrake on the caravan, stop the caravan dead. As the car moves away, the cable will break. It's happened. You need to rehitch the caravan up. That's fine. But if you then move on without replacing the breakaway cable, you are breaking the law. And if the same thing happens again, your handbrake ain't going to go on, and you could end up with a far more drastic situation. Also, and it's fairly standard stuff, isn't it? A selection of batteries, a few AA's, a few AAA's. That's all you need these days, isn't it? Tele remote controls, caravan motor remover remotes, all that sort of thing. Useful to have around. Also, by way of consumables, and you'll have seen me use this on some of my videos, I always keep a tin of brake cleaner in the tool bag. It's useful for cleaning off the tow ball occasionally before you hitch up, get all the muck and the grease off of it. But if you need to muck around with the wheels or the brake assembly on the caravan while you're away, useful stuff to have there. And finally, by way of consumables, little box of bulbs here. It's a little Halford set I've made up with everything I need for this caravan. All the bulbs you need will be listed in your handbook, but they're fairly standard stuff. Some spare fuses, 12-volt fuses there also. So that's all the consumables I keep that enable me to keep the caravan on the road while we're away. Let's pop them all to one side, and now let's look at some of the tools we've got, shall we? First things first, a hammer. Can't go wrong with a hammer. Again, a bit like the gaffer tape and the WD-40. If you can't repair it with what my dad would have said is an Irish screwdriver, although I'm not sure that's really sensitive anymore. You know, it is a useful piece of kit to have in your tool bag. Also, little multimeter. Now, you know, back in the day, these cost a few quid, but frankly, you can pick them up now online for less than a fiver, or around a fiver. Go into Toolstation, Screwfix, pick one up. If you're trying to trace a fault on the caravan, if you want to check you've got electric coming through, both on the 12-volt and the 240-volt system, useful piece of kit to have in there. Okay, let's move on to screwdrivers. So, a couple of little sets here I've got, and again, you'll have seen me use these on some of the earlier videos. My favourite is this little tool here. It's a little screwdriver set. It's got a ratchet screwdriver in it. It's got some spanner heads there, box sets there as well. They're not going to do everything, but a lot of the stuff, yeah, if you're tightening up a nut on a Jubilee clip, something like that on a water fitting, useful to have. Torque screws. You'll have seen me use these. You know, there's lots of things on caravans have torque screws in them, so Torx bits are always useful, as well as your usual range of posi and flathead screwdrivers. This set does have a small baby driver in it, with also some precision heads there. But I do also carry, just because I've got it, a little kit there that's got a load of precision stuff in it for the smaller jobs. Sometimes useful things like tap levers come off and they've got a tiny little Allen in them, and you can often use these to get those back in place. And finally, from that little selection, there's a little ratchet there, spanner ratchet. Yeah, often the screwdriver head in there, the screwdriver handle there will use these heads quite nicely. Sometimes you've got an awkward angle. A ratchet, so you can come at it from 90 degrees, is useful. So those are all the screwdrivers and spanner bits I carry. Obviously, as we say, the hammer and the multimeter. I carry an old pair of scissors. Do get knocked at a little bit sometimes if I use the kitchen scissors for a job, both at home and in the caravan, quite rightly. So I carry an old pair of scissors there. Needle nose pliers, thin nose pliers, normal pliers, and a pair of side snips. Again, you can pick these up 10 a penny online, eBay, Temu, screw fits. Go down Lidl, centre aisle of Lidl, you'll get these dirt cheap. It's not worth mucking around bringing ones from home. Get yourself a set for the caravan. And a pair of conventional snips. I've always had one of these in my toolbox at home. Always find them useful. Yeah, nail pulling, screw pulling, and generally just cutting off the end of those zip ties and stuff. Useful thing to have around. And finally, a little adjustable spanner. Now you could go for a larger one, I guess. Frankly, there's not much I'm going to do when we're out on the road that's going to require a larger spanner or even a larger socket set. Perfectly sufficient for running repairs whilst you're out on the road. If it's going to take something bigger than that, then you've got a bigger problem and you're probably going to end your holiday there, aren't you? Okay. And finally, my last box, set of Allen keys. Not anything too complicated, but again useful for a lot of the fittings on the caravan. Stanley type knife. I think this one is Stanley actually, but we all call them Stanley knives now, don't you? It's not got a great blade on it, but it's useful, like a couple of spare blades in the handle. Useful thing to have around. And again, you'll have seen me use this in some of the videos. I have one of these little multi-tool sets. It has a spare set of pliers in it, a saw head, a couple of screwdrivers, a couple of knife blades, bottle opener, always important, isn't it, if you haven't got one in the caravan. It's a nice little tool to have, and sometimes a useful tool just to keep in your pocket while you're actually hitching up, while you're actually pitching up at the site. It saves getting the whole toolkit out if something needs doing quickly. And finally, a few little bits in the pockets. What we got in the pockets here, nothing in that one. I've got an old micropause cloth. Again, if you're going to use that brake fluid cleaner, wipe off any excess, WD-40, anything like that. Always a useful thing to have knocking around in your tool bag. I have a little rechargeable head torch there. It's a very, very cheap one that came online, but it does the job. And if you're looking up underneath the caravan, particularly if, for example, you are changing that breakaway cable, it's nice to be able to see what you're doing. And then the other side, I always keep a pair of work gloves, cheap and cheerful. Buy them online. You can buy them down the centre aisle of Lidl or Aldi or anywhere like that, any garden centre. Just keep your hands clean, and also stops the hands getting cut and knocked so badly while you're mucking around. And very, very finally, don't you always find something that needs measuring? Something that needs replacing when you get home and you think, I need to make a note of that, make a note of the size of that so I can bring one out with me next time I'm here. So again, not massively expensive one. It's only 5 metre. My toolkits at home have something far, far longer than that. But for caravanning, look, 5 metres is the internal length of the caravan. It's going to do for everything you need while you're out. And that's it. As I say, not an exclusive list. Plenty of other things have gone in here over the years, will come out again when I don't use them so much. You'll make it up as you go along. Your jobs come along and you buy yourself a tool and you leave it in the kit. I suppose the danger with doing that is you're perpetually adding weight into the caravan. So from time to time I'll go through mine and just think, haven't used that for a while, that one can come out and go back home again. But toolkits are essential for the caravan. Caravans always have running repairs that need to be done on them. It's good to have the basic tools with you at hand so you can get those jobs done. So this has been our Welsh Caravan and Camping. Nice medium-sized site in the Rhondda, just on the edge of the Rhondda and the Vale, just off the M4 at junction 36, sorry, don't go to 26, you'll be somewhere around Swindon, I expect. Um, Pleasant site, good for a lot of the attractions, good for some of the stuff around Cardiff, like the Royal Mint exhibition, St Fagan's Cultural Museum. You've got the beach at Ogmore, Bridgend itself. You've got MacArthur Glen outlet just down the road. All pretty good stuff around here. And if you're travelling along the M4 corridor, very nice site for a one night stopover if that's your need. Site itself, very, very well run. Bit on the pricey side at £34 a night for August. I think that's at the upper end of what I'd expect to pay for a site with the sort of facilities you've got here, but reasonable enough. All the time we've been here, it's been about half, 2/3 full. Started to get a little bit busier last night, started to feel a little bit more cramped, but that was a Friday evening, so maybe that's just Friday evenings. But overall, nice site with views all around, good local attractions. You've got the stream running down the side here. So yeah, would recommend this place. Well worth a visit, and well worth a visit to this part of South Wales. You've been watching Just Another Caravan vlog. If this is your kind of thing, then please like, subscribe, share and comment. Not necessarily in that order, but any order will do. And we'll see you next time.